Hello, Kelly here with Kelly's Soroka Life and the home of the Broom and Moon Coven. So today I am bringing you the next installment in my 4x4 series. Every month I work with four different magical items. I work with a crystal, an herb, I work with a specific deck, tarot deck, and I also read a magical book. So this was started last year in 2025 because I had lots of, you can see books and decks and crystals, but you can't really see those. And herbs. I started working with herbs in an herbalism class, and there was just lots of things that I had that I wanted to work with and work with more deeply. So I started doing this practice, and at first I did it just for myself, just for me, and to say that I did it, and just I put entries in my grimoire about things that I worked with and things that I learned from the books. But then I thought I really wanted to share this information because so much of the information it was just so fascinating and really deepened my witchcraft practice and really went into deeper ways to do practices. And there were lots of little things that I thought were very easy to bring into a practice and to bring into your everyday life. So when you might not have the time to do some of this study or read this book, or you might have questions about, I want to buy a crystal, but I'm not sure, what one would work, or I want to use an herb, but I don't really know what the herb does, or I'm looking for a new tarot deck. And, I don't really have time to go to a store and look, find one that has decks that I can look at, or read a book, or you might be looking for a book on a specific practice, and this gives you that insight into something that you might want to bring into your practice. And so that's really why I wanted to start sharing, because just because I love the things that I'm studying and reading and finding out more about, but also so that I can share it with you in this community. And so you can use this information in the way that makes sense for you and makes sense in your practice. And that is what witchcraft is about. Is bringing in, finding things that you have and that work for you. And it's also, you might look at a deck and say, that's not for me. Or you might look at a crystal and say, that's not, I'm not really having a connection with it. And so, and that's good to know as well. So that is kind of a little background about this practice and all of these videos that are here that you can find. So you can, if there's something specific you're looking for, you can do a search. And I also have PDFs for the crystal and the herb, so that you can download that and have that information as well, because I always like to do just a small spell, something very simple that you can do with the crystal and the herb. And so I'll have that information for you, and all of that is down below, and you can find all that information there. And also a link to my website where there's information about the coven, as well as information about where you can find all this information. So let's move on to this month. So we just started a new month, and for May 2026, the items that I'm working with are: the crystal is Smoky Quartz. The herb is red raspberry, and the the deck that I'm working with is the Mystic Fairy Tarot, and the book that I'm reading is a book called Hades, which is about working with the god Hades. And so far, that's been really interesting. So I'm really excited about sharing that book with you at the end of the month. And what is also very interesting too is at the end of 2025, when I was doing things for 2026, I kind of just went through and picked some crystals that I haven't worked with before and some herbs I haven't worked with before. And then decks that maybe were older decks, like the deck that I'm using this month, and books that I've had on my shelf that for some reason, I didn't read. And so I just kind of went through and, put them together in their months. And every month there is always something that comes up, and I think, oh my gosh, that is just a, beautiful synchronicity. And this month is another one of those months, is that we're working with the crystal Smoky Quartz. And I'm reading the book of Hades, and one of the crystals that the author of the book works with and practice with Hades is Smoky Quartz. And, so those things just make my little witchy heart happy. And that's another reason that I really like sharing these things with you, so that you can see how wonderful witchcraft works together and how beautiful it is, and to share it with you. So today I'm sharing with you, like I said, Smoky Quartz. And oh, excuse me. And in Smoky Quartz is, I'll show you, there's a picture. I always put a picture on the PDF. So if you don't have this crystal, you can definitely work with the energy. And so that's why I like to put a picture of it. But I'll show you some of my pieces of crystal quartz, or Smoky Quartz. And this is, I'll try to hold it up to the camera, you can see it. But this is a small, just tumbled piece of Smoky Quartz. And you can see it's kind of transparent, but it's definitely got that smoky look to it. And then this one is a very small piece, and Smoky Quartz is it's one of those crystals that I have a lot of and I really like. And and so it's one that I wanted to include on my list so that I could really do a deep dive into it. Now, this is a piece, another tumbled piece, but this one is a little bit lighter in color, and you will see variations to this very light color to a darker color that's more like this. And these are some of the pieces that I have that are not tumbles. And this is, you can see this a double piece of the quartz here, and you can see the two ends here. Well, it's actually got a little third piece that's sticking out right there. But this one, you can see that it is a darker, a darker color. And if you look for Smoky Quartz, you'll definitely see ones that are much darker than this. And this is one of the things that I have in the PDF that you have to be aware of, is that Smoky Quartz, this color that you see in the Smoky Quartz, this darker color, comes from being naturally irradiated in the mine, or in the where it is, where it grows under the earth. So it comes out like this because of a process that happens to it in the earth. Now, the warning is that many people now have used clear quartz and unnaturally irradiated, so that it's just like exposed to radiation, here by a person, and sold as natural smoky quartz. And you will see that in other There are other crystals that happens to, and some of them they do it on purpose, and you know from the outset that it is a man-made crystal, or and so you know that. But then there are others, like citrine is one that's used a lot. And then there is, I believe, and I want to say an amethyst that is done the same way, that is radiated after it's taken out of the mine and sold as something else, and sold, and that's where you need to beware, is just to make sure that if you want to work with a natural crystal, that you are looking at it and making sure that you know that it's coming from a natural mine. And that's just, being, asking questions and knowing who you're buying your crystals from. And some people really don't mind using man-made crystals, or man-made crystals that have been treated here. And some people are, have a lot of feelings on it. So you just need to decide for yourself. With There are some crystals. Most of the time, I don't really use man-made crystals, or crystals that have been treated. They just have never appealed to me. I do have a few pieces of citrine that have been treated, and some of these may have been treated. I don't think, these more natural ones, because I'll show you some other pieces that I have, because I've gotten them from a person who knows, who knows mines and knows crystals. But some other places that I've gotten crystals, there might be some question there. So just beware of that, and be ready to have, questions. So, but anyway, that's kind of my spiel about buying crystals. So, and then I'll show you a few more pieces that you can see. This is actually it's called a smoky Lemurian crystal. And you can see I mean, it's hard to see on the camera, but it's just beautiful. I mean, it is just this beautifully, beautiful crystal that has the etchings on the side, which is, I think this is what makes it a Lemurian. It's just got these little etchings on the side, and you can see it's got this little keyhole there where there was another crystal growing there. And you can see the inside, places that you can see where it's growing, and where it's the growth that's on the inside. And so this is a smoky Lemurian, and this is another piece that is a smoky quartz. And this one is just a piece that came, out of the mine like this, that was growing. You can see the bottom where it broke off there. But this, you can see it's just this beautiful quartz crystal with this smoky color in it. And I just love it. And then this one is a very small one, and this one I think is another Lemurian, but it's just much smaller. And you can see that, it has the etchings on the side, and you can see where it grew in the mine. But this one's really cute, and this one's really fun to have, like, just have around, because of smoky quartz, and its energy and qualities. So I'm going to tell you a little bit about that, and about smoky quartz, and then we'll do just a little short spell that you can do with smoky quartz. So smoky quartz is very common and easily accessible, and it is the best stone for grounding and becoming present in your body. And this, I think, is one of the reasons that I really like smoky quartz and have several pieces of it, because when I started using crystals, I was going through a time where I was having, lots of panic attacks and just lots of anxiety, and always felt like I was like just, just couldn't connect to my body, and like I couldn't, I was always just on just like this just anxious state. And so this was one of the first crystals that I worked with for that, and to help me just kind of ground. And, when I knew that I was going to a situation that I felt, a lot of anxiety, that this was a crystal that was very helpful. And so this has always been a crystal that I've worked with, and one that I have pieces of, like you see, pieces of around my house in different forms. So this is, and this is, so if you're looking for a crystal that you want to start out with, that maybe you feel like, you're just ungrounded, or maybe you're in a situation where you feel like that in a workplace or in a relationship, then this is a great crystal to get for that. And it has very stable energy, and it's great for general healing and natural detoxification. And so that can be anything that you feel like that you want to detoxify yourself, your area, a workplace, a relationship, a idea that you have. All these things you can use. Smoky quartz is really, really good for. And it's also great for spurring drive and determination, revealing your inner strength, and tackling challenges. And so it's almost got that like mountain energy, the energy where you feel like that you can just climb the mountain, and that you're there and you're solid, and that you can move forward, and that you can reach the top. And so smoky quartz is really good for that. And again, if you're working with your root chakra or your solar plexus chakra, where you feel like your root chakra is what keeps you grounded, and your solar plexus chakra is what keeps you, brings you into your power and gives you that inner strength. And if you feel like that those are two chakras or energy centers that really need healing or support, then smoky quartz is good for that. And smoky quartz is good to help you, not necessarily while you're dreaming or to help you dream, but more for understanding your dreams. And so if you are having just weird dreams where you think, I don't understand this, I don't know what this is supposed to be telling me, then smoky quartz is really good for that, and helping you, understand your dreams and what it means. And so, also with grounding, this stone also dissolves and transmutes negative energy like no other crystal. And so this is a wonderful one for this is one of those stones that is really good just to put in your, wherever, and carry it with you in your pocket, in your pocketbook, in a backpack, in a lunch bag, in your bra, anywhere that you want to carry this, and it will help transmute and dissolve that negative energy and just get rid of it. And so that's why it's also great to have around your house, to have some. You might want to buy maybe four small pieces and put them, at the corners of your house, or you might want to put one in your room, in your bedroom. You might want to have one in your workplace. And so, and if you're in a workplace where crystals wouldn't be really something that you could share, then you can always, put it in, have a picture on your phone, or you can, put it in your desk and, or have it, in something that other people can't see it. It's still going to work. It's still going to be the energy still going to help it's dissolve that negative energy, and we all have times when we feel that we are just blocked and that we just need to get rid of the energy, and it could be again like around your house, and you can feel like there's negative energy and you just don't know where it came from or really what to do with it. And so having that smoky quartz would be really, really good for that. And it works physically and energetically. So you can have it, physically around your space to, as protection and as getting rid of negative energy, or you can do it energetically. And we're going to do that next. We're going to do a little energetic cleansing with our smoky quartz. And so I'm going to use this little piece right here because it's kind of wand like, but you can use anything, and you can, if you don't have a piece of smoky quartz, but you really want to do this spell, or you feel like that you need this cleansing, you can always bring in the energy. You can use a picture, you can use, maybe you have an oracle card that has crystals on it, anything like that, and you can use that in this place, and you can just hold your hands and bring in that energy. But what we're going to do right now is this, we're going to dissolve some negative energy with our smoky quartz. So, like I said, when you're feeling that just negativity and something that's just blocking you, and you just maybe you're really angry about something and you just can't get over it, or maybe there's a situation that you just keep going over in your mind and thinking, what could I have done differently, or why didn't this turn out the way that I wanted it to turn out, and you really want to move on from it. So when you feel that negative energy, and this again is in your PDF, so you'll have it there. When you feel that negative energy is holding you back from moving you forward in any way, you can hold a piece of the smoky quartz in both hands. And then you can start at the top of your head and then move the crystal down in front of your body all the way. And if I were standing up, I would do this all the way down to my feet. And as you're doing this, you can say, allow the energy that I no longer need to be released into the earth at my feet. As smoky quartz draws away anything that is standing in my way, so may it be. Then wherever you feel like that you need this crystal, put it there. Place it in a place it in a place where you can repeat this process if you feel like that you need to do it over again, or you want to put it in a place where you want to feel protected, or you feel like negative energy needs to be transmuted and dissolves and dissolved. And so you can put it there. And that is our spell with smoky quartz. So I hope that is helpful, because I know that there's just so many times when we get to that feeling where we just need to get it, to get it away. And a little tip, if you have an herb that you like to work with, a cleansing herb that you like to work with, and like if you have you might have some garden sage that you like to work with, or maybe thyme, or maybe you have juniper, or cedar, anything like that that is a real clearing crystal or clearing herb. You can light that, or you can wave it, or you can have it, with, hold it in your hands with the crystal, and that will kind of amplify that cleansing and that clearing. So you're doing that with the crystal and with that herbal energy. So that is it for today with Smoky Quartz, and I hope that you enjoyed this. And like I said, I'll be back later on this month with the herb that we're working with, and that is raspberry. And the deck that I am studying with, and this is the Mystic Fairy Tarot that I am, going back and rereading the guidebook and doing a lot of the spreads from the guidebook and using this just in my everyday practice in the way that when I do readings, I'm using this one. And the reason that I'm using this one this month is because in the Coven, we are studying fairy magic. And so if you are fascinated with fairies, or you don't know anything about fairies and you really want to learn about fairies, then and I'm kind of in the middle. I know about fairies. I've worked with them some, but I felt like that this was a really good time to go more deeply with fairy magic. And this month, that's what we're doing in the Coven. And so if you're interested in that, then please come in and join. We have a free community where you can come in, you can chat. We have weekly chats and weekly planning sessions, and you can always ask questions there, or you can post in the community. And if you really want to learn more about fairy magic and go deeper, the membership is open, and you can find all the details and the link below to the subscribe page, and you can find out more there and join. And the Coven is hosted on a platform called School, Skool. And so we have and it's a very private, a very supportive platform where you can come and just, and do your witchy stuff, and be with other witches. And I would love for you to join. So that's it for today. I will see you again soon. Bye.